Hey man, so just taking a look at the song, couple of things that I wanted to go over this time around. This is, again, another small step that I did before really getting into the mixing stuff at all. I talked about layering sounds, but now I'm also adding a couple of little things that you've already actually done a little bit of, which is some of the transitional sounds. For example, my little noise sweep with the uh, going between the pre-chorus and the bridge, that kind of deal. So obviously sidechained mine to give it that sort of swooping sound, and then I'm also automating. Maybe you can see this if I look at the actual instrument itself. Let's find it here. So during this section, I'm also automating the frequency, the filter frequency, just so it gets that sort of like rising tension sort of thing. And I had played with something that we had talked about before, which was like after the big transition moment, cutting the side chain and then just like still automating the frequency filter stuff. But it just didn't feel right. When I listened to it with everything, it kind of just nicely sweeps from one thing to the other. So I kind of like actually kind of enjoy the abruptness of that, and didn't really feel like I needed the other element to it. The other thing that I added was a way to get out of this breakdown, which is a different sort of like snare hit kind of deal. Previously, I had just had one snare hit, like at the very beginning of my tune, and then it just didn't have the right amount of momentum or anything. And I still think I'm gonna like really drown that with some reverb and make it really kind of maybe do some parallel compression stuff, which we're gonna get to. But I wanted to show you those couple of little transition things, and then finally, I I had to take care of some business along the lines. I had sort of um, through copy and pasting compositional like arrangement portions of the song, I had sort of like missed some things. So I went ahead and cleaned that up and made sure that all my sections really had all the content that I wanted it to. But I did play around with like a top line melody, so you can kind of hear that. I played it with like a Rhodes piano sound, and this was some advice that was given to me when I'm shopping around for a vocalist, to collaborate with for lyrics and also for the actual performance. I actually got some feedback that it would be helpful to have a general idea of what the melody might be. So I kind of like jammed around on my piano for a little bit and then came up with this. Anyway, that goes on, but a wise man once told me that, especially when it comes to pop lyrics, but really like the top line melody in general, is, and I forget how much musical background you really have besides like being in band and playing the drums or something, but stepwise motion or tertian leaps. um, that's really all you're doing with melody. So it's very much like keys next to each other on the piano. Right? I'm not making big leaps on the keys, moving from pitch to pitch. It's all very close knit, not a lot of movement there, especially in the verse. And then you got to think that like your hook area and your chorus is really going to be pretty simple. Here's the top line melody for the chorus area. And I think that's where I'm gonna fit in some vocal juggling elements with like just the vowels of all the performances that we eventually get for this thing. But so the transition stuff I felt like was necessary to have before I could really wrap my head around mixing this. The top line melody I think is useful. I've started to export many different versions of this tune from along the way. so I can keep track of the different stages of this thing, and I can potentially, easily forward the audio content to people that might want to collaborate, whether or not they want the top line like melody in there or not. I have versions for them that I can easily access and do that stuff too. Next up is going to be some basic mixing stuff, which I think that you were kind of already doing, but like volume adjustments and some panning, and we'll get to that next time. See you later.